Hey all, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new video series I'm starting for Element Fission. We're going to call it My Territory.
Mine.
So I don't know about you guys, but I've grown tired of the fire nurse already. She's really OP and kind of difficult to deal with. And so I'm going to show you an offense today that's based on the old Copper Bulldozer team from Summoner's War that has a chance to help you get rid of some fire nurses. I'll give you plenty of warning that the gear on my team right now is not the greatest, but even with that gear, we're seeing some pretty nice damage numbers. So we're going to take a look at the mechanics of this offense, and it can be used against any high defense teams, especially ones that generally don't have a lot of HP. And I think once this team actually has proper gear, it can actually be a threat to Fire Nurse, depending on what the other two units are with the team. So let's take a look at this offense. So the first member of the team is the Fire Dome Fighter, and she's essentially very similar to Bulldozer in Summoner's War. So she's built on defense, crit damage, defense, and you can see from those pieces of gear that they're not the best. We got a couple of 4-star gears here, purple, and her crit damage gear is only 4-star, and her crit rate's only 78, so she will miss crits occasionally. Accuracy is 45, which, depending on how high of a resistance they have, that might also be a problem for landing her stuns. So she definitely needs better gear. But this is what I had available. I've not farmed a lot of heavy metal yet, and it's really important to have a Zeal set on the Fire Dome Fighter, because otherwise she will self-stun herself with skill 3, and then she's out of action for a while. So let's take a quick look at the skills of the Fire Dome Fighter. So she's fully skilled, so she has a 60% chance to stun twice. So she has a really good chance of stunning as long as her accuracy is high. And then skill 2 is a little bit different than Bulldozer. So the skill 2 will self-buff defense and then inflict a 1-turn taunt to all enemies. So she has a chance to raise her defense and then get all the enemies hitting her to avoid them hitting the other two units. So skill 3 is the big damage, and this doesn't self-buff with defense, so you need somebody else to buff her defense to make sure she's doing the most damage. And she has a 25% defense buff during guild battle, which is actually really good for this team, so she is the lead. Most people will build her with Zeal Fatal at the beginning of the game. But you can see she's over 2,000 defense, which is reasonable, but slow speed. So then the next member of the team is the Tree Dome Fighter, who's essentially copper. She's actually a little bit faster and a little bit higher defense. So we're looking at almost 2,400 defense. So this one's runed up a little bit better. So while the Fire Dome Fighter needs to be on Zeal to prevent herself from self-stunning on skill 3, the Tree Dome Fighter does not need that. So the Tree Dome Fighter could probably be on Fatal Revenge early game, because then she could do more stunning with her skill 1. First skill, once it's fully skilled up, is a 60% chance to stun. I ran out of skill ups for these. The second skill is also different from Copper. So the first and third skills tend to be very similar to Summoner's War, but the second one is a single target, defense down. And then if you land a critical hit, you get a 50% boost on your attack bar. So it just helps you, it does decent damage, and it helps you cycle your turn bar some more. And once you skill it up fully, it's a 2-turn cooldown. So that can be a really useful skill to help kind of cycle things. And then the third skill is the big damage. And this is, attack an enemy, damage is based on defense, and it ignores defense as long as the target's defense is lower than half of your defense. You really want your defense to be super high so that you're activating that ignore defense. She is not going to be useful attacking targets that are also defense-based damage because they'll have high defense and she won't be able to ignore defense. So, and then our booster is the Fire Annihilator. And the reason I chose that one, there's a couple of reasons. So let's look at the skills. And the Fire Annihilator is just on a mediocre Swift set that I had. Obviously, you want it to be fast as possible, so you'd want to have this faster. But let's take a look at the skills. Why are we using the Fire Annihilator? The first skill has a 50% chance to inflict a 3-turn damage over turn, and it ignores all buffs. That's not really that important. So skill 2 has a 70% chance to apply blind for 2 turns to everybody. And then if you hit a target that already has damage over turn, then the cooldown on this skill goes down by 1 turn. So, and it goes up to 80% chance. So that can be helpful. It can help mitigate some damage. But really why the Fire Annihilator is here is skill 3. And that increases the action bar of a target ally by 100%. And then if it has higher attack, it gets an attack buff. If it has a higher defense, it gets a defense buff. So you're increasing the action bar by 100% and you're giving it a defense buff. And so that makes it really powerful for this team. So those are the 3 members of the team. And we're going to do a couple of just tests in Territory Wars, doing defense tests. And then we'll actually... Territory Wars is not active right now, but we're going to go ahead and I haven't done my airship battles yet today. So we'll take them into Airship Wars and see what we could do. First, we're just going to do a couple of quick tests. So here's one defense that is actually really well suited for this team. It's maybe not the best defense, but we just want to show what you can do against other defenses that have the right element mix for this team to do really well. So there's a fire, there's a light, and there's a water unit. So we're going to immediately boost up, and we're going to boost. You're generally going to want to boost the fire dome fighter first because after she takes a turn, she loses her zeal runes. So then we're just going to use skill 3. Almost 30k takes out the fire nurse. Now that's not necessarily the best fighter nurse, but then you can then take copper here so that you can then take the tree dome fighter here and go after the water nurse, 32k. And then you could just put a blind on this one so it doesn't do a lot of damage. And then you can do a defense down. That 10k. And then it's cycled its turn. There's 14k from skill 1. So really nice team. And again, these are not the best runes. I didn't really cover the runes that closely because they're really just starter runes. Yeah, so we're just going to use our 2 new, the double clockwork team I featured in episode 1. So you get to see that in action a little bit too. The worst guy here is that guy. So the water man-at-arms. So we got him stunned. Let's see if we can stun him again. Yeah, we got him again. And maybe we can try to defense break him. But we're still going to try to ignore defense. Yeah, 25k there. Now we could try to ignore defense on this. Well, we don't have it, but we can use skill 1. 9.4k. 22k. That was nice. Okay. And we could see how much here. Oh, we didn't crit. So I still need to upgrade the gear on this team. I've not had the chance to do that, but So pretty easy victory for that. Defense-based teams are not good against that offense. Okay, so the Fire Man-at-Arms can do a lot of damage, but the Monk can also, so that's the equivalent of Unfair Bear in Summoner's War, and I don't want to deal with that, so we're going to try to take him out. So I think that's the Tree Specialist. He's usually not built with high defense. Boom, 28k. Ooh, he has a lot of HP though. He actually survived that. So yeah, let's just take him out. Okay. Now we got to deal with the Fire Man-at-Arms who has constant... Oh, yeah, so he just one-tapped me. That was bad. Okay, so we got skill 3 available. Okay. So we still got that. So there's 2 victories for the new teams. Bookworm there just derped. She used skill 2 instead of skill 3. So... And we don't want her to use ignore defense, so we're going to take her out. And we're going to ignore defense on this guy, 28k. Now we just have to now we have to wait for our... We see if we can stun her, do a little bit of damage. Oh god, she's squishy. Okay. So we might be able to take her out pretty easily. Okay, so we got her stunned again. She keeps... Okay, so now we have our skill 3 back, but we're waiting on the Annihilator to have his skill 3 back, which should have it now. So, okay. That's one of the issues with not having the Annihilator fully skilled up. I couldn't see the numbers on that one, but we killed off the Fire Nurse. So once I actually get decent gear for it, I think we're going to see some big damage numbers. I hope to come back to that. Another reason we're making this video tonight is we need summons. We're still missing the Tree Gunslinger, and we're missing several other key units. And we really hope we can finally get them. Anyway, powerful Fire Illyrium, 2 tree powerful ones, 40 regular, and then we're going to do the 3 light darks. So we'll do the regular Illyrium first, and let's just hope we can get some new good units. Waiting for lightning. Here comes lightning. Water Ripper, which that's a skill up. We just got him last summon session, I think. I've now hit the protection time for Nat 5s for regular elements. And we're getting close to the protection times for Nat 4s in LD. Lightning on the last one. Tree Archon. He's actually pretty... Now, he's just a skill up because his attack was horrible. And he's actually a pretty good unit. I'm working on a team with him right now. He might be one of the next ones to be featured in this video series. Fire Annihilator, that's another skill up. And we need a lot more dome fighters. Here comes another lightning. What are we getting? Fire Iron Fist. Okay. She's pretty good. She's HP lead. Fire teammates get a 42% HP lead. So she's a fairly good unit, and she's got her IVs are not the best. But hey, we got another Nat 5 that's new. Okay, wasn't thinking about her as being really important, but hey, we could use her. Bruisery teams seem to be very popular right now. There's another dome fighter, a couple more dome fighters. Another lightning. What are we getting? Tree bear. Okay, whatever. We got him last time. Okay, what's the fire one going to be? Fire Archon. Okay, that's a good skill up. Can we get the units that we're really missing? This is what we're here for. How long? Ugh. Tree engineer robot, that's a dupe. We're only missing 3 4-stars out of the tree. Oh, it's the Ripper. I thought, oh my god. For a second, I thought that was the Gunslinger, and I was about to go crazy. Actually, I think we were missing this guy too. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be the answer. Although he is a 7 attack IV, so that's not horrible. But that's. We're still missing the Gunslinger. That was the whole point of the summon session tonight. Okay, so we're still missing the white Popo, the white Euroleon. We still have a number of LD3s to get. So come on, let's get something good here. Dark Dome Fighter, we already have her. That's a dupe. That's also a dupe. Oh my god. Also a dupe. Skill ups. Well, we got a Nat 5, and she's a pretty useful Nat 5 for tanky teams. I was just hoping for something better out of this session. Looks like we've got some Rena coins to use. Anyway, I hope you like the new team. It's a really solid team. Once I get better gear, we'll come back and do some real damage tests with it, because I think with hitting 31 to 34K with very mediocre gear, I think we can go well north of 40 or 50K once we get much better gear. So that's it for now. Until next time, see ya.